Hey guys, just like every other intro ever to this channel, my name is Tristan with Tristan Gibson Dog Training. Right now I'm out with Arlo and Ruby. Arlo is on a long line with the e-collar and he's enjoying some quote-unquote off-leash freedom. Long line is about 15 feet, maybe 20, and just dragging. There he is. Ruby's on her normal leash, prong collar, 50 foot. Walking real nice. And Arlo has a little bit of a chance to explore. Ruby does too. But I like being able to take, heel! Here he comes. And he's ahead. Arlo, fall back. There we go. Good boy. Taught him to fall back by accident last week. So now, there he goes again. Taking a little pee. Dragging some leaves. I like being able to work with the knee collar, or like any tool, like you're not getting anything across to them using like a flat collar and a few pops here and there, or a slip lead or a martingale isn't working, or like many dogs I've worked with, if they're fighting it, despite having some positive reinforcement, and they don't want to let up, and if I let up they win in their heads, they end up knocking themselves out. I don't like it, but that happens sometimes. Even if I get down, drop my shoulders, get really exciting, they're a little reluctant, just fine. But if they knock themselves out, you got to move to a prong collar because that won't knock them out. Arlo is just doing super well. His collar's almost dead. I just got a notification for it. Here. There we go. Is Ruby stepping on it? Rubes. Alright. Pick that up a little bit. There we go. Now it's about 4 foot leash again. Maybe even 3. Ruby keeps on stepping on the leash. So I'm just going to pick it up and carry it for a minute. Still got plenty of dragging leash behind me. As soon as we get off the side walking down the main stretch for this little walk, we're going to do another lap. Making 1.5 miles instead of like 3/4. He's doing really well with it. All right, you can drop it again. Dog barked, no big reaction. He's looking back. He's like, who's that? That's my landlord's dad's dog, if I do remember. No, that's not their dog. That's the next door dog. But he's doing really well. I'll take this moment to talk about operant conditioning and what it is. So, a lot of people have heard of positive reinforcement only based training. And I love positive reinforcement for teaching behaviors and what's appropriate, what's not. Using is a really strong marker to teach like sit and down and duration stays and all this different stuff. But let's say, for instance, you got a dog who is trained off leash, or you have it off leash somewhere, even if it shouldn't be, and you have no way to say, stop the dog from chasing another dog, stop the dog from chasing a deer or a rabbit or a ball into traffic. It won't matter if you have a freshly butchered piece of cow in your hands. That dog probably isn't going to want to come back to you if they're chasing a rabbit, because that's real life. That is pretty awesome stuff right there. If I were a dog, here, I would want to, there he is, I would want to chase a rabbit or a duck and kill it, because then my instincts are desired or are fulfilled, and just a whole lot happier of a dogger if I was a dog. you know. But in instance, you have to have some modicum of respect of yourself and the relationship you have with your dog to say enough's enough. No, you can't chase that animal because it's not safe, because you're not chasing something that you would likely kill. Let's say you live in the southern United States or in Canada or in Alaska, you're actually chasing a bear or a moose. That thing will rip you to shreds or stomp you to death. So for their safety, you have to have some sort of punishment interweaved into your training. And eventually, a dog, even in general obedience training, will say, no, I don't want the cookie. So what do you say? No, down. And the dog may be like, oh, blow you off. Fuck no. I'm not going to go down because I want to play. You're not going to play unless you go down. So even if you withhold something like a ball from a Malinois, to that gives it a motivator, but it's also a sense of punishment. Just like if you take your hands from a puppy, you're not using positive reinforcement until the dog re-engages, or that puppy re-engages with the appropriate thing, which would be a toy. And then you go back in and you play. But it's such a big part, not only of just being a person, because we deal with it as humans daily. You hit the rumble strips on a highway, positive punishment. Then negative reinforcement when you correct and go back to the appropriate lane or get back in your position that you're supposed to be driving in. You don't you don't plug in your seatbelt, you don't put your seatbelt on. What do you get? Ding, 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 until you plug it in, until you put it on. Positive punishment, you do something, that positive punishment turns into a negative reinforcement when you take that something away. So that dinging will go away and it'll reinforce. Arlo, here. Then from there, that's how you know you're starting to understand a little bit. So let's say Arlo saw a rabbit down the street and he's off leash. He can chase after that rabbit, probably eyeball it, but he has a little bit more impulse control than when I first bought him. He was wanting to chase everything, and I still want him to have that drive. I still want him to be able to have fun, but I don't need him chasing a rabbit, or in this area, coyotes. Let's say, for instance, I don't know where I left off at. That's a lot of talking. Let's say for the positive punishment aspect, Arlo's wearing an e-collar. I haven't touched it once this entire time being out here. So let's say if I wanted him to Arlo sit, he's going to sit his butt right down. He'll actually lay down and guard. And he's right here, the center. Break. Let's say I'm in this brush up here. Sometimes coyotes can be spotted in my neighborhood and the next one. We got some small dogs that are pretty accustomed to falling prey to coyotes if they get out. There's one over here in the house. A smaller black dog. It was a puppy, but it could easily be taken by a coyote just by itself. It's like 10 pounds. Let's say Arlo saw a coyote over here and he was off leash, and I didn't want him going up to the coyote because the coyote might say, I want to play. But in reality, it's going to take Arlo into the brush, and there's going to be like 4 or 5 more coyotes, and it's going to take Arlo. They're going to take Arlo, which is fine and dandy because nature's a bitch. But I don't want to lose my dog that way. So you have to have some sort of positive punishment to say, no, you can't do that. That is not a safe situation. If you don't have that, then your dog may not listen. Because dogs oftentimes, when they see something, they want more than a fucking cookie. Excuse my language. You might just lose your dog.